A few months back, it seemed like I was posting a different video about a Z Fold 6 Slim, a Z Fold 6 FE, a Z Fold 6 Ultra every couple of days, and it honestly got tiresome, and I just sort of stopped doing it because it became clear to me that no one had a clear picture of what Samsung was actually working on, and it seems to me as though perhaps they were working on multiple different ideas for a different variant of the Z Fold 6, and maybe these different variants were sort of getting confused. Today in this video, I want to give you guys an update on this topic because it does seem like a lot of the details have finally crystallized. We have this tweet from Evan Blast where he said, F the Z Fold 6 Slim, F the Z Fold 6 Ultra, Hola Galaxy Z Fold Special Edition. So it seems as though that is going to be the name for this device. If you don't know, Evan Blast does tend to be on the ball with a lot of this stuff. So if he's saying it's called the Z Fold 6 Special Edition, it's probably going to be what it's going to be called. Now, before you get super excited, the device you're looking at right now is the Samsung Galaxy W24 series of devices. I almost said S. W24. Of course, there's a fold and there's a flip. Now, these devices are slightly different than the normal Z Fold and Z Flip that we normally see, but these are generally only released in regions like China. They do a few small changes to them, nothing too crazy. You can see maybe some material changes, and that's about it. And this Z Fold 6 Special Edition is going to be quite similar to the W series in that regard, likely only releasing in South Korea and in China. Nonetheless, let's get into some of the details. So the biggest thing apparently that makes this special edition special is going to be the size of the screens, but also the thickness or thinness, depending on how you want to look at it, of this device. Evan Blast did not just tweet this. They also tweeted this, showing 4.9 millimeters and 10.6 millimeters. I think the general consensus here is that they're talking about the thickness of this device when it is unfolded and also when it is folded. So 4.9 millimeters and 10.6 millimeters. If that is the case, that brings this special edition very close to in line with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and it makes it quite a bit more thin than the standard Z Fold 6. I've got things kind of written down here. The standard Z Fold 6 is 5.6 millimeters when it is open and 12.1 millimeters when closed. So that would be a pretty big reduction in thickness. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold, 5.1 millimeters and 10.5 millimeters when it is closed. So it will actually be thinner than the Pixel 9 Pro Fold when opened, and effectively the same thickness when closed. We're talking about 0.1 of a millimeter. So very, very similar to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. But that's not the only place where those size changes are happening. They also posted this image, which I would assume is showing the screen sizes, 6.5 inches and 8 inches for the inner screen. The current Z Fold does have a 6.3 inch cover display and then a 7.6 inch inner display. So this thing is going to be getting fairly significantly larger, and interestingly enough to me, that 8.0 inch inner screen is once again right there in line with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which does have a 8-inch inner screen. Now it does have a 6.3 inch cover display, mainly because of the shape, I guess I should say the radius of the curves of that cover display does kind of kill some of that diagonal size, but again, very similar in size to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot more about this device that seems very special edition to me. We have heard rumors that under display camera might see a slight bump from a 4 megapixel sensor to a 5 megapixel sensor. Personally, I still think under display cameras just aren't really worth it. I don't think that they look all that great, and the pictures they take are not that great either, but that's just my personal opinion. Very small upgrade, though, potentially happening. We've also heard that the backplate may use titanium to add some more of a premium feel. Just a nicer material there on the backplate. That's really about it. Now, we've also heard that potentially the way that they are getting the thickness reduced to the degree that they are is by removing the digitizer for the S Pen. If that's true, I don't know if that's a sacrifice that really makes a ton of sense. Now, it is important to note that that may or may not be true. I do think, though, the reason Samsung is chasing this like ultra thin design is because in China, where this thing is going to be targeting, they do have some insane devices like the Honor Magic V3 or the Vivo X3 Fold, which are both incredibly thin pieces of hardware with really, really nice camera modules as well, which is something that this one is simply not going to be able to compete with. I wonder how they intend on competing against these other devices. As I've already stated in earlier videos, I just think that this might be the wrong sort of approach anyways. Going for ultra thin while people are asking you for better camera hardware and lower prices just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. Stop targeting special editions in China and instead go after that FE version, right? Give us an FE version. We can probably actually stomach the camera hardware that we currently have if there's a lower price point. And then if you want to have a more expensive version, that just needs to be the standard model. But hey, that's just my opinion. I know that these other markets are very, very important. And it seems as though in the Chinese market, thinness is absolutely fundamental in terms of importance. But again, if you just give them the thinness, but you don't compete with that camera hardware, I don't know if you've done enough there either. Samsung does seem to be in sort of a strange situation. At any rate, guys, that's kind of what it seems like we know about this device potentially launching as soon as the end of this year, again, in South Korea and in China. If you are in other regions, the normal Z Fold 6 is going to be the way to go for you. It's probably going to be maybe even cheaper than what this thing is going to run for, and I don't really see, other than the thickness being reduced, I don't see great reason to go for this version instead of the Z Fold 6 that we already have. Maybe you really want that extra large screen, but I would just say at that point, maybe you look at the Pixel device because it seems very, very similar. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this, though, in the comments down below. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.